I'm Charlotte with Freezer Meals 101. Welcome! Today we're going to be doing single serving freezer meals. Now I know that I have another video on freezer meals for one or two, and so if you're looking for recipes that are great for if you're living alone, or if you want to make them for a parent or friend who's living alone, then you can check that video right here. I'll just put the link there. And today we're also going to be doing similar recipes that are really, really good for those people that are living on their own. I sometimes am making them for my dad and my mother-in-law, and today is no exception. I'm going to be making some for them as well, but today I'm going to be doing something a little different in that I'm making some of these meals for myself for lunches, because I work from home and I find that when things are really busy with work, if there aren't leftovers that I can quickly and easily make for lunch, then I end up skipping lunch. And last week I had a huge work project and I was pretty hungry by about 3 or 4 o'clock every day. So that's why I have it on my mind that I want to make some meals for them, but I also want to make some meals for myself to just be able to make myself a lunch and not really have to think about it or plan it throughout the day. So if you are looking for ideas to be able to take for your lunch, or things that you want your kids to be able to eat really quickly after school for a snack, or when your older kids are by themselves and needing to make something and just heat it up in the microwave or the oven or the stovetop, then these recipes are perfect for that. So much planned for today, but let's get started. We're gonna start with these meatloaf, mini meatloaf, so meatloaf muffins. If you've watched my videos before, then you know I do not love touching raw meat, and today involves quite a bit of raw meat. So not my favorite, but I brought out the rubber gloves again so that I don't have to touch it with my hands. So it's gonna be a little better. In a mixing bowl, you're going to mix your raw ground beef. So I got extra lean. You can use just lean is fine. And then here, I will read you what else is in here and then we will assemble it. So you're gonna have your beef, your minced onions, we've got that all measured out already, your green pepper finely minced, and some breadcrumbs, Italian seasoning, barbecue sauce, Worcester. I smile because I've had people commenting on my videos telling me how to pronounce that properly, so hopefully I did that right. Ketchup, chili sauce, egg, salt, pepper, and parsley. You can find the exact measurements in the description below. I will link the full recipe, so let's go. Okay, so this is what it's looking like at this point. Just an observation for you. The next time I do this, I will wait until it's time to mix before I put the rubber gloves on, because the gloves made me like stick to the bottles when I was trying to open them. So just something I learned for next time. So now I'm going to mix this all. It's best to mix it by hand. Just works better. Although I have heard that you can use one of those KitchenAid mixers. So if I was doing like a double or triple batch of this, then I might go ahead and do that. I'm just going to mix it really well before I put it in the muffin tins. And I did grease the muffin tin container before I got started here. Now we're just gonna fill the muffin tins. If your kids like meatloaf, this recipe is really great because, first of all, they think that it's cute because little meatloaf muffin. So even if you have a larger family, you can still make this recipe and then just take out more than one at a time. But it's also a great recipe because you can hide some veggies in here. So I mean, I've got the green pepper in there already. And it's not super hidden because it is green and you can see it, but you can grate carrots into this and that goes really nicely and actually helps with the moisture. So you can just add some extra veggies that way. Grated sweet potato also works. Anyway, really good family-friendly recipe. And if you live on your own, or if there's just 2 of you, then you just take out 1 or 2 at a time. You can heat them up in the oven or the microwave because they're already going to be cooked before you put them in the freezer bag. And you can serve them with ketchup if you like, hot sauce, or plain, however you enjoy meatloaf. Now I'm gonna pop this first tray in the oven. One thing to be conscious of, just in case I forget to tell you later, is once you bake it, you wanna thoroughly cool them before you put them into your freezer bag. And the reason for that is that it's going to help prevent freezer burn. If you put things in when they're still warm, then it creates more air in the bag and that leads to more freezer burn. So I'm popping these in a 425-degree oven. When they're done, again, we're gonna let them cool, and then I will be putting them in freezer bag, taking out all the excess air, popping them in the freezer, and that way you can pull out 1 at a time when you need an easy meal. So this next meal that we're going to be making is actually one of the most popular recipes on my website because people who try it come back and make it again and again and again. And I think one of the reasons for that, well, okay, I think there's 2 reasons. One is it's so incredibly simple. And the second is that you can try kind of an unlimited amount of variations. It's one of those no-fail recipes and you can really make it your own. And I think people enjoy trying different versions. So today I'm actually inventing a new version and we'll give it a try and see how it goes. I'm expecting it's gonna go well because this recipe seriously is no fail. So we're doing an Alfredo Tortellini. The part about it that's so easy is that you don't have to cook the tortellini first. So it actually just bakes in the sauce when it's in the oven. So that makes it super, super simple. Now, normally when I make this, I make it in a family size. So you just bake it in a large casserole dish. Today, we're gonna mix it all together in a bowl, and then I'm going to separate it into these smaller sizes. And these can go straight in the oven, so they can be frozen and then cooked right in here. So that's gonna be really easy for people like my dad and my mother-in-law. Less dishes, less work, and just less to think about and worry about. So anyway, this is what we're gonna do, but the way we're gonna change it is it's always the same basic recipe with your tortellini, your Alfredo sauce, your mozzarella cheese. You top it with a little bit of Parmesan, and then it's just the mix-ins that you change. So I've done bacon, cooked chicken and sun-dried tomato, bacon and sun-dried tomato, mushrooms and frozen peas on their own, mushrooms and sun-dried tomato. So I've kind of tried all different variations. They're all delicious. Today, I was planning to do the frozen peas just by themselves, but I didn't have any in my freezer, which actually, I don't remember the last time that happened to me, but anyway, it just is what it is. What I did have in my freezer was some frozen asparagus. So I'm gonna chop up some frozen asparagus spears and mix that into this. And I really don't see why that wouldn't be absolutely amazing. So that's today's version. I'm gonna mix it all together in the bowl, separate it into these, top each one with Parmesan, and they'll be ready to go into the freezer. I know that some of you have been asking for quite a while if I could do another video on single serving freezer meals or freezer meals for one. So I hope that today I'm gonna give you lots and lots of ideas. I actually have in the crock pot behind me, I've got some pulled pork going. It was actually a Dr. Pepper pulled pork freezer meal. So that was frozen, but now that we're cooking it up, once I shred it, I'm going to put it into small size, is it quart or gallon that is more, gonna go with quart. Okay, sorry, it's not my fault. I'm Canadian, so we don't go by quart or gallon, so I'm trying to put it into American language. So the quart size freezer bags is what we're going to use today for the pulled pork once it's already cooked and pulled, and then those can be in individual portions, and I can give some to my dad and some to my mother-in-law. And I'm probably not going to keep any of that one because I really think that would be one that they would enjoy, and they could put that on buns or use it on as just an actual meal and make some sides for it. So I think that that'll be a really nice one. So we've actually got quite a lot on the go today. I also wanted to mention that when I'm done this meal, I'll kind of clear this area a little bit, and then I'll go and I'll get the ground beef that I had already cooked, and we'll start making some meals with that. And then I'll go and get the raw chicken, and we'll do some chicken meals. And so I'm just explaining like the order that I'm doing things, because if you're doing a session like this where you're making a lot of meals at once, it's better to work with one protein at a time. That way you're not leaving like the raw chicken out on the counter while you're making your beef meals or anything like that. And so you know that you're being safer as far as like food preparation goes, but it also helps keep you organized, and it helps you stay on track. And then if something happens where you can't finish all the meals in one day, then you know right back the next day where to get started again. So anyway, just another little tip. I'll just share tips as they come to me, so they might seem pretty random, but I do want you to learn as much as you can and be able to do this as easily as possible. Now, we have once again run into a spatial issue. If you're a subscriber and you've watched my other videos, then you know that my spatial concepts are really bad. And so this is not the first time that I have run into a spatial issue, and it will not be the last time. But this bowl is not nearly big enough for me to be able to stir this and finish adding in the cheese. We're gonna do the best we can, but obviously use a bigger bowl so that you can stir it more easily and have room for things to like not go flying out all over your kitchen or not spill on you. So anyway, speaking of subscribers, I love my subscribers. I love when you guys leave comments. Thank you so much. I do read them all and try to respond. If you haven't subscribed and you're looking for easy recipes, then hit that subscribe button. Okay, I'm gonna try to fit this in, and we'll just stir really slowly and try to make the least mess possible. I wasn't sure how much that would make. I mean, I wasn't sure how many small containers my regular recipe would make, but it made 6 of the small containers. Oh look, I forgot to put Parmesan on this one. Okay, we're going back to do that. But yeah, when I'm on video, I get a little ahead of myself, get distracted, and forget what I was doing. But if you do them all at once, it saves you time, and then you won't forget to do one. So we'll just go ahead and do all of them with the Parmesan. And the nice thing about this meal too is that if you want, you can actually cook it from frozen. You do need to add a little bit of cook time to it if you cook from frozen, but you can cook from frozen. So that makes it extra handy, especially if you're just wanting to do like a quick lunch or dinner at home. And like I said, with the different mix-ins, this doesn't have to be boring, because what you could have even done if you wanted was mix up one of the mixtures with the Alfredo and the mozza cheese and tortellini, and then in each of the individual dishes you could have just stirred in whatever your extra mix-in was. So like tried bacon in one and chicken in one and a vegetarian one, and just seeing what your favorite was at the end, and then that's the one you could make in all of them next time. So it's a nice little versatile recipe. Okay, so like I said earlier, now that we're done those two initial recipes, well, the first one is in the oven and almost done, and the pulled pork is being worked on behind us, but we're done this one and part of those. I'm going to go ahead and clean up my station a little bit, and over here I've got some things for the chili that we're about to make, so I'll just kind of drag them over and get everything else set out, and then we'll start on our next round, which is things cooked with ground beef that has already been browned. And so we're going to get a few meals out of that. I have a plan for two things, and if I still have some ground beef left over, then I will invent some things. I kind of have some things in mind, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, I am back, and I've got one set of the meatloaf muffins out of the oven. I've got the other set in there baking, and so things are rolling along here. Next, we're gonna work on some ground beef recipes. So I've already gone ahead and browned the beef. I did that in my roasting oven, and I think I did maybe 5 or 6 packs. I'm not really sure. I probably should be sure, but I'm not. So when you are measuring out ground beef, 2 2/3 of a cup is 1 pound. So I think I got that right. Oh boy, now I'm second guessing myself. But yes, I know this. I should know this. I do know this. Yes, 1 pound is 2 2/3 of a cup. So we're just gonna measure out some beef here for our chili. I think I'll do like maybe, I'm debating here. Yeah, I'm gonna do like half for the chili and half for the chocolate meat. I don't really know. I should really make these decisions ahead. Okay, let's just get started. You know how last time when I was making the tortellini, my bowl was too small? And now I don't want to run into that problem, so my bowls are going to be too big. But it's one or the other when you have spatial issues. I have to tell you, I've never actually made chili into individual portions before. I don't know why it hadn't occurred to me, but it's kind of an obvious for being able to make in individual portions. But what actually gave me this idea is in the Freezer Meals 101 Facebook group, somebody recently made a giant batch of chili and was asking other people in the group, like, what are some other ideas that you can do with chili? And people had such awesome ideas. And I was thinking about the ways that I've used chili myself and thinking about how actually versatile it is. And if you had it in your freezer, you could use it for all those things. So you can use it on chili dogs, you can use it as kind of a sloppy joe's thing on buns, obviously regular chili. I have a chili hash brown casserole that is, again, you could have it for like a brunch or a regular meal. A friend of mine does a chili dip where she takes chili, puts it into the crock pot with cream cheese and I think it's cheddar cheese, and then you just use that as a dip with chips or crackers. She brings it camping and says it's a huge hit at all the potlucks. So anyway, there were some other ideas, actually a huge list of ideas in the group. There was like chili mac and cheese. I can't even remember them all now, but tons of great ideas. And so I thought what might be kind of cool is if I gave my dad and my mother-in-law a little list of ideas so that when they had their chili, if they wanted to, they could make themselves something a little bit more adventurous with it. Okay, so I always like to get the easiest recipe out of the way first. I just find it helps keep me motivated. And when we do our big freezer meal sessions, like Christy, my neighbor, and I do them together. And I will put a link right there if you're interested in our latest one. We made 150 freezer meals. And in those kind of days, I always keep a running tally of how many meals we've made. And that really motivates me to keep going. Christy actually couldn't be bothered, like doesn't care. That's not the kind of thing that motivates her. And so it's just funny how we have different personalities, of course. And she's just like, let's just keep going, let's power through. And I need the motivation of knowing like, okay, I'm exhausted, but we've already made 42 meals, or you know, whatever it is. So that's one of the reasons that I like to do the easier ones first. But if you do a huge freezer meal marathon and you leave the hardest ones for last, then you don't have the energy to do them. So on those huge, you know, marathon days, we've learned the hard way that you never want to leave the worst ones for the very end. So anyway, today I'm not making that many meals comparatively, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do some of the easier ones first. I'm talking way too much. Just ignore me. I'll fast forward the parts where I'm assembling things. And here we go. The taco meat is going to have some tomato sauce, some taco seasoning, some chili sauce, and I might throw some cheddar cheese in there. I might not, haven't quite decided. And then I will just separate it into these medium-sized freezer bags, take out the air, and those can go straight into the freezer. The nice thing about taco meat is that obviously you can use it for tacos. You can also use it on nachos, in pasta, or make taco salad with it. So it's a pretty versatile thing to have in your freezer. I realized that I also want to add just a little bit of minced onion in here, just to give a little more flavor there. And just like that, our taco mix is done. So I'll just get that put in the bags and then we'll move on to the chili. So I'm just gonna swap out my chopper to a larger one, because before for the other recipes I was doing finely like minced onion, and now I need to do chopped onion because of course the secret to chili is onions. That's what my mother-in-law always told me. So, you know, whatever your mother-in-law says, you should probably agree with. Anyway, okay. I really love this chopper when I can figure out how to get it on right, which I always can, except when I'm on camera. Funny how that goes. Okay, here we go. It's super fun, and if you want to get rid of like your aggression or frustration or whatever, it's really a good healthy way to do it. See? Okay, one more. All right, so now we've got our lovely minced onion. That's going in there. We have everything else in there that needs to be, and I will just give this a stir and put it into bags, and just like that, we've got some more meals done. So things are actually coming along really well. We've got the second batch of meatloaf muffins out of the oven, and was able to turn the oven off, which is really good because it's summer and it was getting hot in here. So, and then I'm just gonna check on that pulled pork. Give me 1 second. Oh yeah. Smells pretty darn amazing. So that is really coming along too. And we've got our pastas done. After this, we're gonna move on to chicken recipes. and I think it's gonna work really, really well. I just have this like concept for what I'm going to do with the chicken, and I think that, yeah, you're gonna see how easy it is to actually have a really nice like home cooked chicken meal, even if you live by yourself. And the way that I discovered that actually was my husband was doing keto, and so he was having to eat differently than the rest of us. And I did keto meals for him, for freezer meals, and I did individual chicken meals. And then we have this, I'm gonna grab it, hold on. We have this. So it's like a tiny little, what does it say, 15 ounce, 444 milliliter, tiny little Corningware container. And so what he would do is he would just take the individual chicken meals that I had made for him. So it's just like one chicken breast with all the other, like the seasonings or whatever it was, and he would put it in here and bake it. And it worked super, super well. And he was really, really happy with it. And I was kind of amazed how this thing that somebody gave us probably as a wedding gift and had never been used actually has been used a lot the last few months. So these individual chicken meals can actually work really, really well. So we're gonna get to that in a second. Sorry, I go off on tangents, but we're just gonna finish the chili first. Thanks for bearing with me when I, you know, go off on those little tangents here and there. Just if I don't say what's on my mind at that time, I'll forget, and then later I probably would have forgotten to show you this really cool dish and how well that works for those chicken meals. So, okay, this is looking good. I think it looks like the consistency that I wanted. I already added all of my seasonings. Again, I'm going to put the recipe in the description below, so that way you don't have to follow along with exactly what I did. You can just go and grab the exact measurements for yourself, and we'll get this into our quart size bags, take the air out of those, and get those in the freezer. Now, if you want, you can make labels for your individual freezer meals, or you can just do what I'm doing today and use a permanent marker to write on those. Now, if it is something that's a little bit more complicated, like the tortellini, what I'm doing is I am writing with the marker right on top of the lid the cooking instructions. So chili, I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. You can heat it in the microwave or the stovetop. I recommend the stovetop because those beans tend to explode in the microwave, and if you do put it in the microwave, definitely cover it. But with something like the tortellini, you need to know what the oven has to be at and how long you cook it for. So on that kind of thing, I'm always gonna write the cooking instructions on there just to make it easy for everybody. Okay, I'm going to get some of this cleaned up and get some dishes started. And then I'm going to grab the chicken and we're gonna start. I think those recipes are gonna be pretty fun. So I'll grab the chicken and the ingredients that I need for that, and I will be back. Okay, so now we're gonna get to our chicken meals. Now, if you were making this for yourself, the fastest way to do this would actually be to choose 1 or 2 chicken recipes. Don't do what I'm doing because this will take longer because you're using more ingredients. It'll also be more expensive unless you already have these things at home. So if you're doing this on your own, then I would suggest that you pick 1 or 2 chicken recipes that you really love or that you want to experiment with, and that you make those and then divide them so that you just have 1 chicken breast in each bag and all the rest of the ingredients in each bag. So that's gonna be your fastest and cheapest option. Today, I'm doing a whole bunch of recipes because I just wanted you to see what's possible. And I really want you to be able to think about freezer meals as something that are exciting and actually doable, and that might actually be able to transform your supper and give you so much more time and save you money. So that's why I've chosen so much variety today. But really, it's gonna be faster if you just choose 1 or 2 recipes, make that and divide it out amongst your bags. For a lot of these, I'm gonna be using reusable silicone freezer bags. So these are a nice option, especially if you're just doing like 1 or 2 meals. They do have the larger size, the gallon size, but I find that those ones are not quite large enough. They're not quite as large as the regular plastic freezer meal bags. So I still haven't found any that I love from the larger size, but this smaller size, really, really easy. And you don't need them to be any bigger than this. So that's what we're gonna be using today. So I'll just get this open here, and then I'm gonna get into our chicken. Okay, so I've put a chicken breast in each of the bags and propped them up, and then we're gonna do like a different recipe in each. So we're gonna start with super simple, just like a lemon garlic, and I will link the recipes down below again in the description so that you can grab exact amounts. That would be, of course, if you're making 3 to 5 chicken breasts. And so then you would make it in a bowl, divide it up among 3 to 5 bags, depending on how many chicken breasts you use. And then that's a really simple way to make your chicken recipes. We're just gonna give things a little bit of a squish to combine that. And we're gonna add on this thing to seal it for us. And again, you wanna make sure that you get out all that air before sealing. So actually, as quick as that, we have a chicken recipe done, yay. And we're gonna go on to the next one. So for the next one, I want to do a barbecue shredded chicken. So trying to remember that recipe, but I know it's like not very many ingredients, and I make it all the time, usually when Christy and I do our freezer meals. So it's gonna add some barbecue sauce and some apple cider vinegar and some garlic, and I think that's it. I hope that's it. Anyway, that's what this recipe is gonna be. So I'll link the real recipe down below. But the reason that one's a nice one is because you can shred it and put it on buns. And I have a really good garlic mayo recipe that if you look at that barbecue chicken recipe, you'll find that there. And so we do a garlic mayo on there and usually coleslaw on the buns as well. And it's really, really good. So there we go. Just a touch of garlic and that one's done. And boom, 2 chicken recipes. Well, almost. I gotta squish it around. Now I should be labeling as I go because otherwise I might forget what's what. But I have the benefit of being able to go back and watch the video and see where I placed each one and then label them later. So when you're doing it, you should label as you go. Okay, in this next one, we're going to do a version of our Jamaican jerk chicken. So I've got this Jamaican jerk seasoning, and I'm gonna add some of that and some lime juice. And then I'm gonna see if I have some Jamaican jerk powder seasoning, which we also use, in my pantry. And if I don't, then this is all it's gonna be, is this and the lime. I also usually add some green onions, but we're just improvising today. Again, I just wanted to show you kind of what's possible, not worrying too much about exact things, just I want it to taste good, which I know this will. And so let me grab that seasoning if I have it. I do. So just add a little bit of this. My mother-in-law actually likes spicy things, so this will be one that goes to her and not to my dad. So here we go. So for this next one, we're going to do the lemon mustard chicken. And So that one, we've got lemon juice, Dijon, lemon pepper, cayenne, I feel like there's something else, not garlic. Man, I might have to look this recipe up. This is what happens when I start to get tired. Maybe a bit of olive oil? I don't know. I might look it up. It's on my own website because it's my own recipe. Oh goodness, I'm getting a little tired. Here we go though. We'll get started. Let's see. Oh, I know what it is now. It's honey. And that is why I have this giant container of honey here. See, that's another benefit to taking all your ingredients out, is that if you forget what you were doing, your ingredients can remind you. So, voila, an added benefit. Okay, I'm going to use this butter honey that is from our yard and as fresh can be, so it doesn't get any more delicious as far as honey goes than this. So I'll put that, and then some lemon pepper. One other thing that I had considered doing today is like a very simple lemon pesto with some mozza cheese that you top it with. So you would put the shredded mozzarella in a separate bag. But the reason I changed my mind on that is because we seem to have quite a lot of lemon recipes and I wanted a lot of variety. Again, you're gonna squish that to combine those flavors. It's a really nice one. For the next one, I was going to do a lemon pepper chicken with more lemon juice and some lemon pepper and some salt and pepper and whatever. But I changed my mind because that honey is so nice, so I want to do a curry one. So I've grabbed some mild curry paste and I'm just gonna do curry paste and honey. I know it will be really delicious. Actually, might add some ginger or garlic in there. Probably add some garlic. Anyway, I think this will be really good. Okay, for this next meal, I just want to clear my workstation a little bit because it's getting hard to get, have some elbow room here. So, and then I'll pop back and get that started. It's another chicken recipe, but kind of different from what we've been doing so far because it's not going to be for baking in the oven. And I think you'll like this idea, so be right back. Okay, so for this next idea, what I'm going to do is take some chicken breast, I'm going to cut it into strips. I'm going to put all of the strips into a large freezer bag. We're going to add some Cajun seasoning and olive oil, squish that together, shake it up a lot, and then I'm going to divide it into smaller bags. Now, the great thing about these Cajun chicken strips is that you can fry them up really quickly because they're going to be very thin, and then they're so versatile. You could have them, on their own with some side dishes if you wanted, or you could serve them on top of a pasta, like especially a fettuccine Alfredo or something like that. That would be delicious. But you can also have them on top of any kind of salad. You could have a Cajun chicken Caesar salad or like a Cajun kale salad or whatever. I don't know. Whatever kind of salad you want. Or pasta. And actually, yes, it'd be good on Alfredo, but it would even be good on a pasta with a red sauce. So I really love this idea because it's great for if you're meal planning for lunches, because then all you need to do is cook up your chicken strips the night before. They're already marinated, they're already ready to go, and then you can just do the salad, have that on top or on the side of the salad, and you've got your protein and your vegetables. So here we go with this one. Okay, so now we're just going to transfer these into individual bags. So our meatloaf muffins have cooled, and I'm going to transfer those into a freezer bag. And actually, they didn't all survive to be transferred into a freezer bag because a lot of my kids are home today, and they've been helping themselves, which is, I mean, a great problem to have if your kids are wanting to actually eat the food you make. So I'm not complaining. But I'm just gonna grab that freezer bag and a knife to help me get these out. So now I'm just going to pull the pork that's in the crock pot and divide that into those medium-sized freezer bags. And then actually that's it. I didn't have any ground beef left over, and I got done all the chicken recipes that I wanted to do. I was kind of considering also making a vegetarian soup and having that on the stovetop as I made everything else. Once it was fully cooked, I could have transferred it into bags or those individual black containers with the lids that I often use. But it's just too hot today, so I didn't want anything else that's gonna like heat up the house. So that's something that I'll just do another day and add that to what I have for my own lunches at home, and also to what I give my dad and my mother-in-law. So I will go ahead and put the other freezer meals for 1 or 2 video right there, so that if you're looking for more ideas, you can check that out. And of course, we always have lots of great freezer meal recipes for you, so you can go ahead and subscribe. Thank you so much for joining me today on another freezer meal adventure. And I hope you guys have a great week. Happy cooking!